Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. Yep, it's Thursday. You know it. It's time to talk some NFL football. I'm Donnie Seymour along with Purviance. We're the sportsbookreview.com NFL team. And it's time for kickoff tonight. We have an interesting one, but before we get to that here, Kyle, it's a fun week that we have. This week, more than any other, it seems, over the first 2 weeks, we are worried about injuries, but don't you guys worry. We got you covered. We're going to hit every single game this weekend's card, cover the game tonight, have some fun. 89,500 people have hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much. And also, the big time support you guys have been giving us on the opening line show on Monday, close to 11,000, almost 12,000 now views on that show. Fantastic stuff. Thank you guys so much for that. We're here to talk football, Kyle. It's Thursday night. I can't wait to get this weekend started. It feels like this show starts the weekend, doesn't it? Even though we're only on Thursday.
Absolutely does. I feel like the weekend is coming. It's my favorite day to golf, Thursdays after the show. A nice big release. I'm just now realizing I forgot to make an awesome promo for this for the golf course. I forgot.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I totally forgot.
So you know what? I will make the one for Sunday. You're off the hook, Donnie. I will make the one for Sunday show. A little behind the scenes stuff there. My brain has been all over the place this week, but week 3, and you're right, man. The support has been unbelievable. The support in the chat box. I mean, the chat box going off before we even start the show. We've got someone asking. I mean, this is a great question. I've got Carolina's money line. Should I cash out 1,200 or risk Carolina winning for the 3,800? I think Carolina wins. You know, we'll get into that game, but it's an interesting question. What do you? He can cash out for 1,200 or risk.
What does he mean? He's cash out? We get what do we already have? What bets did we win on this already? I need to know more about this, Kyle.
He's got something going on in here. He can say he can cash out at 1,200 or risk the Carolina money line for 3,800. I say you risk it for the biscuit. Scared money don't make money, and go for the Panthers and get that. I mean, I do think they win the game, and of course, we'll talk about that more in just a moment.
Yeah, and if you lose that, don't blame either me or Kyle because it's not our money. We like to let that roll and get those big dollars here, but congratulations. That seems like a nice score that is about to take place. But once again, guys, thank you for joining us here today. If you haven't got in the Pick 6 contest, you need to get in here. Both myself and Kyle, we make sure to have our Pick 6 picks in before the Thursday key show in the NFL on sportsbookreview.com. But we have our plays. We'll give those out a little bit later. But if you're not in there, $50,000 up for grabs, $1,600 per week. Go 6-0. Take some of that cake down. Do you have the chops to do it? If you like NFL football, fantastic. If you like me with a blinking camera, it's going to happen all day today, even better. So we can stay here and have some fun with this. But get in that tournament here. A lot of money's up for grabs. It's free. See if you have the chops, as I said, to do it. NCAA football, 3 games. Pro football, 3 games. NFL, 6 games. College, 6 games. Whatever you want, you just have to pick 6 games here, and we can certainly have some fun with that. And also see if you can win some of that cash. So why don't we get after it here and start tonight? Thursday night football. Yep, it's the Panthers. Yep, we take a look at a heavy favorite here. And you know me, Kyle. I look at these games and say to myself, I don't want to dip into the home or through the away team. But now we're seeing across the board, Pinnacle offshore at -8. FanDuel, New Jersey, 7.5 -120. DraftKings, 8.5. Bet365, 8. You're over a touchdown in every single market you want to bet. Also, take a look at the total here. 42.5 offshore at Pinnacle. 43.5 to 43 here in New Jersey. And I have to say, as we just start this one off, I'm going to keep it simple on this one because I do have some prop bets we're going to go over in a little bit. Yeah. But you know me, it's home team or no team. But there are some discrepancies that sometimes come into play. Look at the Carolina Panthers tonight, Kyle. I'm going to go over just, the positions or the position groupings, right? Quarterback, better on Carolina. Offensive line, better on Carolina. Running backs, better on Carolina. Wide receivers, better on Carolina. Let's flip it over here. Defensive line, better on Carolina. Linebackers, better on Carolina. Secondary, better on Carolina. Do you see what I'm going here? Do I want to outsmart myself? Be like, hey, I know everybody's out there, and you know me. I'm probably not going to have a side wager on this game, and I usually look to the home team. But, Kyle, when I'm looking at a game and trying to break it down, keep it at its simplest elements here. Every single spot on the field is towards the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, and that Carolina defense you brought up, which was what we thought might be a hole, they're the only team in the NFL who have scored double-digit fantasy points in both weeks 1 and 2. They've certainly upgraded. A.J. Boye may make an appearance for them tonight for the first time as well. He's a nice player in the secondary. I mean, you're right. The advantages are there across the board. No, I'm with you. I'm not does everything about this say Carolina -8 and just take it and go? Absolutely. But do we really want to be holding the bag on a Thursday night with Sam Darnold on the road over a touchdown? That's a little bit scary for me. The one pick I almost pulled as that old seal of approval is that Panthers team total over 25.5 at -125. I think they get there. Terrence Mitchell's also going to be out in the secondary for Houston. Vernon Hargreaves has been torched on the other side. The advantages are up and down the board. The -8 makes it a little tough. Tugnut says in the chat, -6.5, pay the juice. I would feel a lot better about that over a touchdown. You and I are of the same mind. Home team or nothing on Thursday nights, but tonight it's really hard to back Houston with no Tyrod Taylor, backup quarterback having a short week to prepare for his first ever NFL start. I mean, it's Panthers or bust for me. The way I would approach this, either Carolina first half, get that under a touchdown, or that Panthers team total over 25.5. That makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, and you're looking also at maybe a first-half spread, because if you think they're going to win this football game, Carolina, they're probably going to cover, but that's neither the point. You're trying to maximize your effort and see what sort of sides you can take, totals you can take, prop bets you can take. But if I just try to break it down again and say, all right, what would I like to do in this game? Do I want to lay the 8? Let's just say 8.5. We use it as a round number, just the highest number on the board. I necessarily don't like that per se. Do I think Carolina can cover it? Sure, I do. But having said that also, when you take a look at the game one, that's a nice win by Houston at home over a bad Jacksonville team. They go on the road. Up until Tyrod Taylor got hurt in that game, they're up 14-7. But also keep in mind, Davis Mills throws a fourth quarter touchdown in that game against the Browns. You know what happened there? Yes, they're within a couple points here with a legitimate chance to win. Now, they lost by 10, but still, even with Tyrod Taylor as a starting quarterback, they covered that line. So they're 2-0 against the spread. Look at the first half here. I'm just going to use FanDuel just to keep it simple and on one book. The Panthers -4.5, -120 in the first half. If they're up a touchdown at the break, which you think they should be, they're probably going to carry the game anyway. But having said that, if they're down at the half or not covering the 4.5, it's probably a good chance that Houston is in this ball game and maybe in this all the way to the end. So if I'm looking to bet a side in this game, it would be the Carolina Panthers probably to be up a touchdown at the break. And then who cares if you come through the back door late in that ball game? It won't have any bearing on that. You get an honest half of football out of both teams. If Carolina doesn't play well, probably not going to cover the full game. If they play well, they're probably going to get the cover at the half. And also, who cares what happens, as we like to say, in the second half. We saw it week one, Kyle, right? Bad team, young quarterback, Jets, blowing them away. You let them get back in the game in the fourth quarter, but it didn't matter. Right. You weren't going to lose the game anyway. I don't want to get caught up in that trap here tonight.
Yep, completely agree. If I'm betting aside, it's the first half. 100% agree. And let's not forget, Carolina's got the coaching advantage. Did you see the bonehead call this Coley guy made last Sunday where it's 3rd and 15? They make it 4th and 2. They get 13 yards. There's a penalty on the play. You can retry the down at 3rd and 10. And he says, nah, we'll take the 13 yards and punt the football. That is such a scared, moronic, boneheaded move. And it's just moves that Matt Rule doesn't make. I like Matt Rule. He's one of my favorite young coaches in the league. I think he does a lot with the little, especially what he's dealt with his defense last year and then having to deal with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's been solid. He's hit his passing props both weeks. Carolina first half makes a lot of sense for me. Why mess with the side? I think the Panthers get to 27 points tonight. You're getting the 25.5. It's not juiced up. It's at -125. That's offshore at Bovada. I like it quite a bit. Panthers team total for me. And if you're going to bet the side, I agree. First half makes a ton of sense. I do expect them to be up by at least a touchdown at the end of the first half.
All right. Why don't we get to some prop bets in this game? Because I think sometimes you can make some money in props more than just being forced to bet a side or a total. Because particularly even, Kyle, when we look at the total for the game, I don't necessarily have a great feel either side. For a line in this game, again, not necessarily a great lean on either way. So let's take a look at some of the props. Now, this morning is when I place these wagers here, but I do have a few of them that I like. I'll go over the first ones here for myself. Christian McCaffrey, first rush of the game for him to be over 3.5 yards at -130. Simple terms here. Gets a handoff, runs for 4 yards. You cash that ticket. Gets a handoff here, gets 1.5 yards. You lose that ticket. I think he's a legitimate chance to get over those 4 yards on turf against not a great defense here. Second one I have here, Robbie Anderson's first catch over 11.5 yards. That's at +102. So again, layman's terms here. Robbie Anderson, deep threat guy, catches a 20-yard pass over the middle, you cash that ticket. Robbie Anderson catches a 4-yard out, you lose that ticket here. Another one I'm on, Christian McCaffrey, first half touchdown at +105. The reason I'm doing this, I had another video out earlier, -360 for the game here for McCaffrey, an anytime touchdown. That's ludicrous for anybody here. Yeah. So if you figure he's going to cash in a touchdown, you want it in the first half. And if he doesn't score a touchdown, you know what feels better? Losing a +105 as opposed to a -360. That's where I'm going that range. And also, there's a nice odds boost here. If you could post it, Esteban behind the scenes, do you have a little odds boost here, like the graphic that we have? If you could shoot that up, because It's only $25, and it's at Caesars. Christian McCaffrey,
Love this
over
one.
99 and a half yards, not rushing, not receiving, combined. 50 on the ground, 50 in the air, 60 on the ground, 40 in the air, over 100 yards there. I think that's legitimate. It's only $25. It's at Caesars, but I think that's a great play. Monday night Caesars, Kyle, had Aaron Rodgers plus 100 to go over 1.5 touchdown passes. Cash that in easily. I think that's legit. Give me some prop bets you were looking at tonight here.
Well, let me just say, I was also going to mention that Caesars odds boost for McCaffrey. I love that one at plus 100. My favorite odds boost that I saw on the board. You can get some crazy ones too. McCaffrey 3 touchdowns plus like 480. There's some fun ones over there for Christian McCaffrey. In that same vein, mentioning Christian McCaffrey, and if you follow SBR on Twitter, as you should be doing, we give out a ton of plays over there every single day, and you also know when we're going live. Christian McCaffrey over 54.5 yards receiving at minus 125. It just feels like he, in his first 2 games, 15 targets. He's had 89 and 65 yards receiving in those 2 games. With Curtis Samuel leaving, they haven't really found anyone to take that slot receiver spot. It's been Christian McCaffrey's job. They have Terrence Marshall. He hasn't done a whole lot there in that spot. So I think McCaffrey gets over 54.5 yards rushing, and he could be there very early, and I like the price at 125. Another receiving prop, Robbie Anderson has not had a great start this season, but I'm looking at his receiving yards over 46.5 at minus 125.
One catch.
That's one catch. And we mentioned Vernon Hargreaves. So he lines up all over the field. He's been on the left 36% of the time, in the slot 36% of the time, and on the right 28% of the time. Vernon Hargreaves has been absolutely torched on that defensive right side, offensive left side, giving up over a half a fantasy point per out ran against. Their other starting perimeter quarter, Terrence Mitchell, will not be there tonight, so they're going to be thin on the other side. I think this is the night Robbie Anderson gets going. Big play potential, and you're right. That could be one play for Robbie Anderson. Random mentions in the chat box, over 18.5 for his longest reception. Absolutely. So I like that over receiving yards prop for Robbie Anderson quite a bit as well. Those are 2 I really went with. There's not a ton. Look, it's tough when you go to the Houston side because they're going to play 3 running backs all pretty equally. I almost went on the Mark Ingram over 38.5 yards rushing. He does seem to be the number 1 back, but you're seeing plenty of David Johnson and you're seeing plenty of Phillip Lindsay. So that makes it a little dicey. When you start looking at those receiving props for them, again, no Danny Amendola tonight, so Anthony Miller will make his Texans debut and get some work in the slot. Guys like Chris Conley, who've been playing a lot of time but aren't getting a ton of catches, their numbers are low, 22.5 and 26.5. I'd probably lean the Conley one there. He's more of a vertical type of guy, but we just don't know what we're going to get out of this rookie quarterback, so it's a little tough to trust those. So for me, it's the McCaffrey receiving. I love that odds boost receiving and rushing at 99.5 at Caesars. And Robbie Anderson, I'm really taking a hard look at Robbie Anderson over 46.5. I think that's a great play tonight. If you want to get a little crazy, you could go to DJ Moore at 68.5. They have advantages across the board out there in the secondary for Carolina.
Yeah, it makes it look. There's a lot of bad sides this week for usually, because I have Carolina circled here as a possible wager. Obviously, I'm not going to take a side. If I was betting anything in this game, Kyle, it'd be the minus 4.5 in the first half. But you're going to see a little, same story here over these next couple games where you look at these and go, none of this interests me from a side perspective. Now, there are some other bets that I do like throughout this card, throughout the weekend. But when you're taking a look tonight, like if you have a standalone game in the Panthers-Texans, I'm not all fired up to take the plus 8.5, the minus 8.5, or whatever you have. But I do like those prop bets. I think we can find some on those. So if you're looking to bet any game tonight here, because I don't have any money on a side or a total. If I were to bet this one, Kyle, it would be the minus 4.5, but I do have money on those prop bets here. So while we wrap this game up here before we get out of this one, any final thoughts on this game between the Panthers and the Texans?
Yeah, I'm with you. If I'm betting a side, it would be the 4.5. I do have a lot of that team total. I keep gravitating to that 25.5. Carolina should be able to get to 27 points tonight with all the advantages, especially in that secondary and an all-world running back in McCaffrey. Again, it's a road game on a short week, so that gets a little tougher. But that team total is standing out to me, and those prop bets we talked about make a ton of sense. I kind of like this that Sean put up here too. Anderson over 43.5 and a McCaffrey touchdown at plus 175. I think that's really interesting as well. But for me, it's hard to hold the bag with the Texans here. Maybe you use Carolina as a teaser piece. People love to do those teasers, and you get it down to 2.5. That could be an interesting thing too, because if I was getting Carolina minus 2.5, I'd be jumping all over it.
All right, let's keep moving down the list as we go. Arizona and Jacksonville. We're going to start out here on Sunday afternoon. Murray goes on the road versus Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence had a shaky first game, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, but threw for some yards. His second game here versus Jacksonville with Jacksonville when they played the Denver Broncos was terrible in that game. Keep in mind, they actually had a 7-0 lead over the Broncos and let that one wash away. But this is another one of those games. I have a similar feeling to this one. A road team coming West Coast, East Coast, laying 7.5. I don't think Jacksonville's very good, Kyle. But are you running to the window with your thoughts on this game saying, I got to take Arizona? Or is it a total that you're looking at? Because along with the game tonight, this one I have relatively zero interest in from my perspective. Maybe a team total look, but not from a game perspective. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's Arizona or bust, however you decide it. Jacksonville has done nothing to make you think they're going to do anything against anyone, home, away, no matter who they are playing. Urban Meyer looks completely lost into pro level. So I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. He just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing. When you watch the route combinations that those players are running, I don't understand it week after week. I'm like, it's no wonder he's turning the football over. He's got his receivers within 5 yards of each other. Their game plan seems really, really bizarre. Of course, that Arizona offense is humming and that Jacksonville defense is bad. These receivers have advantages across the board. So, we talk about the pick six and you have to pick sides in there. So I did include Arizona in that. It certainly makes me nervous. A West Coast team going to the East Coast in the early window, that always makes you nervous. But Arizona looks exponentially better than does Jacksonville. So you have to back the Cardinals here. I love making some teasers for this weekend. This is the first week I've done some teasers this season. Arizona was the first one I circled, getting that down to 1.5, 2 points. Sign me up for that all day, every day. Cardinals win this game. That team totals at 30.5. I mean, is this Jacksonville defense better than the Minnesota defense they played last week? I don't think so. And they absolutely boat race that defense. They should be able to get to 31 points. Some slight interest for sure in that team total at 30.5. But there's no way I'm backing Jacksonville in any way, shape, or form until I see them look like a competent NFL team.
Yeah, this is a tough one here because you take a look and it's, Arizona 30.5 minus 120. If you could buy below 29, it's relatively not a big difference there. Jacksonville's team total is going to hover around that 3-touchdown mark. But the question you have is Arizona, we know, can pour it on offense. There's no question about that. Does Arizona need to pour it on offense is the question we have. Because when you looked at the game last week, I think we pointed out, like, hey, man, you got a running mate with Minnesota. You got Dalvin Cook, a couple big-time wide receivers. Kirk Cousins does put up a ton of stats in the regular season. What are we going to get out of Trevor Lawrence? Am I going to get week 1 Trevor Lawrence where he throws 3 interceptions but 3 touchdowns, which is fantastic for a total either way that you look at it? Or are you going to get the one from last week that throws for about $120? That's not going to get it done if you're looking to bet a total in this ball game. So if I'm looking at it from both sides of the table, I see you. Like if there's one wager that you want to probably put your money down on, it would be the Arizona team total over. I just need to, and again, you can't know. That's why it's gambling, right? We don't know the final score before it actually happens here. Sure. I want to know what I'm getting out of the offense for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But if I had to make one play, probably leaning towards the Arizona team total in this game, Kyle.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's where I'd be at too. It's a great point. There are a little bit of nerves, but this won't be one where I'm like, this is my best bet of the day, because if it is a lethargic, and look, Arizona's defense can be beaten. This is not an all-world, 2000 Baltimore Ravens defense here. But you're right. You need a running mate, because if this is, 28-0 after 3 quarters, do you see Arizona trying to score in the fourth quarter? Maybe, maybe not. But any bet I make on this, I love them as part of a teaser, getting it down to that 1.5, 2.5 type range. And I do have some interest in that team total. You just got to hope Jacksonville makes them do it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in that one, but not a lot of interest. Now we're going to start getting to some of the interesting games on the card here, which are very much more enjoyable to me. Now, the Colts versus the Titans. This is a fascinating one, not because both of these teams are supposed to challenge for the AFC South crown, but the fact is, who is actually showing up on Sunday for the Indianapolis Colts? Go across the board. We're still sitting at 5s. We had 5.5s out earlier in the week when we were probably anticipating Carson Wentz maybe not making it to the starting line. Now we see on Wednesday practice, no Carson Wentz. Thursday practice, no Carson Wentz. You're calling up guys for quarterbacks on the practice squad that might play. Not only just one quarterback, maybe even 2 quarterbacks playing this weekend, being a rookie and a practice squad guy. That's never a good thing, but yet here we sit on a Thursday doing the show. The line hasn't moved all that much. Now, the totals have 52 in New Jersey, 52.5 has opened up at FanDuel. We're now at 47.5, some 48s offshore. But as you look all the way across the board, what am I getting out of this game? I can't see any world right now where I'm trying to get on the Colts. Now, 2 days ago, Kyle, if I would have got, let's just say, Carson Wentz, where he was going to practice and it looks like he's going to start, I start getting intrigued by the team total for the Colts because I think the Titans defense stinks. But if I'm going to get either a Carson Wentz that's going to, quote unquote, give it a go on Sunday or have two bad quarterbacks play, how can we be looking towards the Colts in this one?
You just simply can't. You're absolutely right. And I'm actually really surprised that the line hasn't moved. I thought for sure this would jump up, especially with Wentz missing practice. And it's never, anytime they start calling those players up from the practice squad, you almost start to see the writing on the wall. I mean, the poor guy doesn't have just one sprained ankle, two sprained ankles. And I'll say it again, that can only happen to Carson Wentz. But I got Tennessee, and you're right. If he was going to play that Colts team total, you can get, under 20 at a decent price. You can get under 21 at a decent price. It's even money at 21.5. I like the Titans here, and I like them -5. I normally don't love sides all that much, but you can go ahead and, I was thinking about only having one seal of approval. You can put that seal of approval stamp right here on this play, Esteban, because the Titans at home here. We'll see if Xavier Rhodes is able to come back. They can score on anyone. I know the Titans defense stinks, but Jacob Eason, that's who I'm backing to cover on the road against a division opponent. I don't think so. I like the Titans -5 here, and I like them quite a bit.
Yeah, it makes sense. Look, I can't argue with you. Usually I would try to play devil's advocate on this one, but if you're not going to give me a healthy Carson Wentz in this game and give me what I might be lining up outside of him, I don't see any way, shape, or form. And also you take a look at, Pascal banged up a little bit. Campbell's banged up. Obviously, T.Y. Hilton is out. It's going to take a big-time effort for them to get the win, but it is the NFL. Any given Sunday, I understand that. But as we sat here on Monday, didn't like it all that much. When we sit here on Thursday, still don't like it all that much from an Indianapolis perspective. And even when you're looking at this, because you know me, I'm trying to be contrarian and say, boy, that Colts 20.5 number. If Wentz plays and he's somewhat healthy, they'll get that. And I truly believe that. But if Carson Wentz is not healthy and not going to play in this game, I don't have any other way that I'm even trying to look at that game overall. Let's take a look at the Ravens and the Lions here and set this game up. Jackson on the road, as we see today, not at practice. It says, latest report, Ian Rappaport, just right now, Lamar Jackson missed practice today with a non-COVID illness, a bit of a stomach bug, said he will be fine. So again, up in the air, doing cartwheels into the end zone. He said his hip was a little bit banged up from that. Now he's missing practices. Maybe not the sharpest week here, but you're looking at 7.5 to 8.5 across the board as a favorite for Baltimore. Detroit at home, total of about 50. I would lean towards a higher scoring game, but it's one of those where I need to make sure Lamar Jackson is 100% healthy and able to carry 15 times in this game, because then you start looking at team totals for the Baltimore Ravens. But it seems like this is the MO of the week. Carolina, over a touchdown favorite on the road. Arizona, over a touchdown favorite on the road. Baltimore, over a touchdown favorite on the road. Are we backing the Ravens in this one? If I had to do anything, it's because we pick every game. I do have Baltimore on my sheet circled here. I think there's a better chance, Kyle, that Baltimore wins by 10 than loses this game. So that's the way I would lean. Not in love with it, but Baltimore should be able to move the football here.
Yeah, right. And I guess there were some reports, right, that it was a sore hip from flipping after a touchdown and all that nonsense. Can we just start telling these really good players, look, we have enough injuries already. When you score a touchdown, don't be an idiot. Just get healthy, get to the sideline. Don't jump. Offensive linemen, stop jumping on your quarterback after they score a touchdown, please. Leave the guy alone. Let's keep him healthy. But listen, how can you back the Lions +8 here? I know they made that little comeback against the 49ers late, but that was one. They've played one good quarter. It started out okay against Green Bay, I suppose, on Monday night as well. 1.5 good quarters of football. You get this Ravens running game going against a terrible, you saw Aaron Jones, first player to score 4 touchdowns on Monday Night Football since when? Since ever, or in 30 years. They can't stop the run. You get Lamar Jackson in a controlled, no-weather environment. It's hard to go against the Ravens here, but you're right. Let's make sure he's going to play before we get crazy. Unfortunately, I do my pick sixes before, and I think it's a tough week with sides. You never love backing road teams by more than a touchdown. That's always difficult. But Baltimore should get it done here. I do like the Ravens. If you want to take the Lions, maybe you can tease that. If you want to tease that up to 2 touchdowns, I like going the other way and teasing this down to Baltimore less than a field goal. That's the way I approached it in my teaser. But picking sides here, I just don't see how they stop Lamar Jackson and this Baltimore offense. I like the Ravens here. It's a big number. It makes me nervous. Certainly not my play of the week, but it's Ravens or bust for me.
Yeah, also leaky defense here, as I like to say, for the Baltimore Ravens. So maybe take a look at that 50 price might not be too bad. And also keep in mind, the Ravens run their offense regardless. They are not a passing attack. So if they are up in the fourth quarter, they are going to continue to run the football, which is their forte. We'll see how it plays out there. Let's head to Buffalo, 59, 60 degrees at kickoff. We also taking a look in this game, maybe some light rain to start, 45s to 46s across the board, and a touchdown or more favorite here for the Buffalo Bills. 7 at FanDuel, 7.5 at DraftKings, 7 at Bet365 here in New Jersey, -7.5 at +105 offshore Pinnacle, which roughly tells you it is a 7-point line here. When you take a look at the Buffalo Bills, week 1 played kick-ass defense against the Steelers. Lost that game. I have no idea how they did, but they righted the ship by not even playing a great game of offense with a 35-0 victory over division rival Miami Dolphins on the road. Now they come back home. The one thing you can say about the Washington football team, a little bit extra time here. Heineke looked pretty good on that Thursday night game, but that's the Giants defense that they're going up against. Now you're going on the road into Buffalo, a much tougher defense to play against, a much better overall team than the Giants. Another tough one, man. Like,
God, it's tough.
Like when you take these points, it's like, hey, give me over a touchdown. Then you think to yourself, like, no, wait a second. It's still Tyler Heineke. It's still Washington. They're still on the road. Do I like Washington's defense as a whole? Sort of. I like their front four. Their back end is getting absolutely torched so far in the season. And we look at the Buffalo offense. They ain't looking to run the football, Kyle. They're looking to air it out and let Josh Allen be athletic in the backfield. Over 7.5. I guess I lean towards the Washington football team that I have it circled here. But again, another one of those games. I'm not in love with this at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. It just feels kind of like it's going to be a grimy defensive sort of struggle. It's too bad that weather is what it is, because I would probably jump all over the over 45.5 if there wasn't going to be possible rains and winds that might take some of those. Once the winds get to 20-25, that's when it does start to affect some things, in particular the kicking game, and you never want missed kicks when you have an over. It's essentially a death sentence for your overs. Man, it's tough. Look, I don't think the Giants defense is all that bad. I do like some of the stuff they have. So I was a little surprised that the Washington offense was able to do what it did. Terry McLaurin looked sensational against James Bradbury, who's supposed to be one of the better cover corners in the league. Now he's going to draw to Tre'Davious White. If he can have that same kind of performance and get open against a guy like White, might be having some special conversations about what Terry McLaurin is doing here. But I was encouraged by what I saw by the Washington offense. Do I expect the Bills to win? Absolutely. But I don't know if I want to lay over a touchdown. So I'm with you. I'm going to take the points. I don't love it, but I'm leaning Washington.
Yeah, take a look here at the team totals as well. Buffalo, 27.5. This is going from Bet365. The only reason I have this one up because it shows them all right in order. And the Washington football team at 17.5 at -115. So doable on both ends. But again, one of those games where you're trying to pick your shots. You're saying, I think there's way better games on the card that you can try to break down and possibly have some fun with at this time. So let's just keep moving here down the list as we go. And we're going to take a look at the Saints and the Patriots, which finally a game that you can sink your teeth into and try to find a side that might make some sense. What are we getting out of the New Orleans Saints? Week 1, fantastic. Blew out the Green Bay Packers, who then, in fact, went home and blew out the Detroit Lions. All right, so looking on the up and up. This is also a team that went on the road for a back-to-back road game, essentially, since they called it a home game in Jacksonville, and got crushed in Carolina. Now you're going to go on the road 3 straight weeks and head up to New England. But what New England team are we actually getting here? Because you look at the Miami Dolphins that beat them, got smashed by a good football team in the Buffalo Bills. And then you try to take a look and say, all right, well, New Orleans got crushed by the Carolina Panthers. But also keep in mind, you do have a 1-1 football team here as we look with New Orleans and a 1-1 football team with New England, who New England went on the road and beat the Jets. Kyle, both of you, me and you could beat the Jets right now. Doesn't matter if we're playing home or away. So what are we actually getting out of New England? I have to say in this game, it's one of those looks where early in the week you're like, you know what? I think New England makes sense here. They're at home. They should win. I didn't like to see what I had out of New Orleans. But also if you're getting some injury help and some injured guys back here for New Orleans this week, and maybe Marshawn Lattimore makes an appearance in this one, I got to tell you, now that it's at 3 at some outlets here, and in the Pick 6 contest, I picked it at 3. I do have it circled as New Orleans. I'm leaning towards the New Orleans Saints. I think this will be a lower scoring game, 42.5. I think the Saints will rebound in this one, but I'm just not overall that impressed with the offense of New England. Are we looking for an up-tempo game out of these two? Probably not. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be lower scoring, and I'm going to take the points in this game with New Orleans.
It's another tough one. And I'll tell you that 42, if Marshawn Lattimore, I knew he was going to miss this game, I'd probably jump on that 42. I think both teams' team totals are absolutely live. Stephon Gilmore, the Patriots' best secondary player, also won't be in this game. I mean, you're looking at the Patriots 22.5. It was one of my favorite team totals early in the week. I want to see what happens with Lattimore. And after rewatching them against the Jets, they barely got over that to 25 last week. For me, I'm taking the Patriots here -3, and it's not because I think they're exponentially more talented or anything else, but this has got to start wearing on New Orleans. They haven't been able to go home in 3 weeks unfortunately, because of the hurricane. They're, living out of hotels for 3 straight weeks. Now you're going to one of the toughest places to play in the league against, who many say, and rightfully so, is probably the best head coach ever to coach a football team. Great defensive schemes. What makes you feel good about Belichick when you go against a quarterback who turns the football over? You saw what they did last week to poor Zach Wilson. Jameis Winston looked like he was reverting to old Jameis. I think New England here out-schemes the Saints. I think a lot of stuff is working against the Saints here. I would lean the Patriots here. I have some interest in that 42, but I'm just not brave enough to touch it. Patriots -3 for me. It's dicey. I would like it a whole lot better at 2.5. I'm with you. But I just can't take Jameis on the road against Belichick. Just doesn't add up for me. So right now, I'm going to go against you a little bit here, and I lean towards the Patriots -3.
Team totals in this one, you can get the Saints under 20 and also the New England Patriots around 22.5. I don't see an aerial show out here, so I'm not really running to the window on either one of these teams because I'm not so sure the big play is in business for both of these. And sometimes you need some big plays to get those totals and team totals lined up here for us. All right, here's a good one. Chargers and the Chiefs here out at Arrowhead. It's going to be a 1 o'clock start here on Sunday. Herbert versus Mahomes. We opened up at around 7. We're below 6.5. And Kyle, I agree with that line movement because I think the Chargers are going to be live in this ball game. You're taking a look at temperatures out there in Kansas City. Dome team going outdoors. You always want to take a look at it. How about this? 79 degrees at kickoff, 13-mile-an-hour wind. So roughly the same conditions as you possibly had last week when the 2 weeks ago when the Kansas City Chiefs were at home with a little warmer weather against the Cleveland Browns. But I'm looking at this game, and you want to throw that seal of approval up behind the scenes here, Esteban. I do like the Chargers, but I've already fired on this team total. And I'm going to go over the reasons why I like it in just a few moments. But this one listed here, I got it 22 for the Chargers at -160 at Caesars. I told you guys, we're going to be riding Caesars a lot during this football season. There's actually another number that is very advantageous as well, and that's at 22.5 at -138. That's at Fox Bet. But not everybody in the chat box. Fox Bet's in about 4 or 5 states, I believe. But obviously Caesars in many more states. So when I put my money where my mouth is, do I actually like the 22.5 at -130 a little bit better? Yes, it's a little bit less risk on the juice. But I want to ride with the people that I told, hey, sign up on these books here because we're going to be taking a look a lot at these. I went with the 22 at a -160. Also, if you look, that's an alt line. I'm going to play a lot of alternative lines here in the football season. There is 23.5 available, roughly at either -110 or -115, staying under the key number of 24. But Kyle, here's the reason why I like the 22.5s and the 22s better. Let's just do simple math here. 2 touchdowns is 14 points. 3 field goals is another 9. Where does that put you at? Under the 24.5 or under the 24? Yes. 23.5, that would be a loser. The 22s and the 22.5s, that's a W with 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals. Now, also keep in mind, a little bit leery here. This is a new NFL as we've seen with the extra points being moved back. I think the Chargers are going to be scoring touchdowns in this game because that's how you beat the Chiefs, not on field goals. So let's play devil's advocate here, Kyle. 3 touchdowns and 1 field goal is how many points? 24 points. Now, let's just say you get 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal, and a missed extra point. We can all do the math. That's 23 points, which would be a devastating loss. So to get off of that number and say, you know what, the 23 would have been fine, which is what I was actually trying to shop around to find, which would give you less juice, but also take the risk out of missing an extra point. I couldn't find it out there. So I wanted to make sure I got in at least one play with my seal of approval that I've already bet today, and that is the Chargers. I'm going to ride with everybody at Caesars. 22 is a team total at -160, but also Fox Bet at the 22.5 -138. I like that as well. The 23.5 I still think is viable. I don't think they're going to miss an extra point. I think they get to 24 points. Don't get me wrong. When I tell you guys exactly what I'm betting and why, that's the reasoning behind it, Kyle. What are you thinking about today on this Kansas City Chargers game?
Yeah, I love those team totals. I think you're absolutely right. And I agree. I like the Chargers to cover here. Here's the facts about the Chiefs. In their last 13 games, they are 2-11 against the spread, but outright they are 10-3. So that just tells you right there, they are not covering the spread. They are always overvalued in the books. and they don't cover. And the Chargers play the Chiefs tough. This is a tough matchup for that Chiefs defense. Now, they do have L'Jarius Sneed, who's going to see a lot of Keenan Allen, and that's not terrible. He's a decent slot corner. But the Chiefs' defense is not all that good. Austin Eckler should have a huge game. Of course, last week, the Chargers didn't score as many points as we all thought. A lot of that was due to the officials simply did not want them to get a touchdown. They have 3 touchdowns called back from penalties. They end up not scoring on those drives. So a lot of hard luck happened last week against the Cowboys, but this is going to be a close game. Do I think the Chiefs win? Most likely. They're at home in Arrowhead. It's Herbert's first game in Arrowhead with fans in the stands. Certainly a tough place to play. But I can't get that 2-11 against the spread in their last 13 games. Now you're getting it near a touchdown. I think this is a close game. Chargers cover here. You just can't trust the Chiefs with these kinds of spreads. And we talked about it last week. Even the points on the road against Baltimore. It took Baltimore because they just simply don't cover spreads. I'm going to continue riding that trend, and I love that team total that you talked about. And for that matter, you can get the Chiefs under 30 at a pretty decent price too. There should be points in this game. I'd lean the over in it. I'm not touching it because it's so high, but I do like that the plus 6.5 right now for the Chargers. It's just hard for me to imagine the Chiefs winning by more than a touchdown right now because they simply haven't proven they can do it.
I agree with you. I certainly do. 236 people watching the chat box. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on a Thursday talking NFL action. And just take a look at the Chargers as well. They didn't score that many points last week. They had over 400 yards of offense. How about week 1 on the road against Washington? 20-16 game. They still had over 400 yards of offense. You say, hey, Donnie, they didn't even score 24 points yet this year. Don't worry about it. The Chargers are a different breed on defense and offense. They are going to score. If your game plan coming in against the Chiefs, Kyle, is let's try to play keep away from Patrick Mahomes, you will get dusted 41-3 in that game. Good luck keeping it away from him. You have to match him with scores. You have to match him with touchdowns, and I think it happens. I think it's a perfect weather day here for us, as long as those winds stay below 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, as you said. Though both of these teams will move the football, there will be points. I thought 22 was a fantastic number, 22.5 as well. As long as you guys keep that under 23.5, I think it's going to make a lot of sense here. But a fascinating game nonetheless. Let's head back to the East Coast on the next game, Kyle. Falcons and the Giants. Now, this one opened up at 2.5 threes, stays 3.5 during the week. Bet 365 here in New Jersey. Now back down to 2.5. 47.5 across the board, down from 48.5. And I have to say, I looked at this game long and hard early in the week because I'm saying to myself, I think Atlanta's defense stinks overall. The Eagles tore them up. The Bucs tore them up. And I think the Giants have the capability to do the same. Coming off Thursday, they had the extra bye week, time to prepare, back-to-back road games here for Atlanta. They're going nowhere this year. But I keep getting back to the point is, do I want to, trust Daniel Jones? I think I can. But their offensive line is so bad, the Giants, just so bad and injured now. I don't know if I can trust the Giants to get over the 25.5 points. If I had a free wager on this game, I would think the Giants could get over that price. But wouldn't you feel better if the Giants were like a 23.5 or a 22 in this ball game? I don't know if I can trust them, Kyle, at that 25.5. But looking at the game itself, no way, shape, or form can I back the Atlanta Falcons under a touchdown here. Nope, not going to do it.
Nope, no way. I like the Giants side here, and you're right. We talked about this Monday. I looked long and hard at this Giants team total. A few things swayed me away. One, it's how Daniel Jones looks at home. For some reason, he's just better on the road. That sloped field in New Jersey and the way the winds come in just seem to affect him here. But that Falcons defense is so bad, and those weapons have matchups up and down the board in the secondary. A lot of people keep asking me, hey, Saquon Barkley's awfully cheap this week in DFS. Should I take him? Is that a lock? I don't think so. I know he had the one good run, but have you still seen yet where it's Saquon or bust, where they're he's not going to be as involved in the passing game because he has Sterling Shepard, Golladay, and Slayton is an excellent trio of weapons out there. I do like the Giants to cover this by 3. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my pick 6 plays. We'll get to that later on. It's not play of the day for sure. I'm not holding the bag with Daniel Jones as a favorite, and this does have some trap feelings about it. Everyone's out on the Falcons. We're done with the Falcons, and then Matt Ryan finds a way to not look like a completely washed version of himself. But I don't see how you could back him right now. Under a field goal, got to take the Giants.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm on the same wavelength as you on that one. We'll see if something turns up over the weekend, but still should be decent weather here on the East Coast. I think the Giants do score points. I just don't know if I trust them enough in order to get close to that 28. Should they? Yes. Do I think they will? Yes. Do I want to bet it? Not so sure about this. How about the Browns and the Bears here? Fascinating game as well. Why? Because we're going to get a look at Justin Fields here as a starting quarterback in the NFL much sooner than what maybe the Bears front office had expected with Andy Dalton. Dalton played well last week up until he got hurt. Justin Fields came in and damn near gave the entire game away to the Cincinnati Bengals. Now you're asking him to go on the road and pick up a victory against the Cleveland Browns, but what Cleveland Browns team, Kyle, are we actually getting in this situation? Baker Mayfield, separated shoulder. You have a dominant running game and a very good offensive line. I understand that. Jarvis Landry is not going to play. Odell Beckham giving us the old, I don't know if I'm playing either. So it looks like this will be a running game, and that's good for the Bears. Their defense can slow down a running game, and maybe Justin Fields can make enough plays here with his feet to keep the game close. I think 7's an appropriate number. It was a little bit higher to start the week, but I even saw 6.5s pop up a little bit earlier today, but primarily 7s across the board. If I'm taking a look at the notes that I have here, and I usually hate to go against myself, I have Chicago here listed as +7 with the points, and I also took them in my Pick 6 contest. Am I in love with this? No, but it's not about trusting the Bears and what I'm getting out of Justin Fields. It's what I'm actually going to get out of the Cleveland Browns, because let's be honest with you, Kyle. They go on the road. They should have beat the Chiefs, but they lost. The Chiefs then went on the road and lost to the Ravens. We'll see how good the Chiefs are the rest of the year, particularly on defense. Also, when you take a look at the Cleveland Browns, they came home last week. If Tyrod Taylor plays that whole game, maybe they don't even beat the Houston Texans at home. So we're just expecting them to come on the field and wipe the Bears off. I know we saw the Bears get punched in the mouth opening night versus the Rams. Rams going to punch a lot of teams in the mouth. But I did like what I saw from the first 3 quarters of the Bears versus the Bengals. Slow the game down, play good defense, and just hope your quarterback doesn't throw pick sixes the other way to let the other team back into it. I like the Bears in this game. Am I crazy?
I don't know if you're crazy. I know I circled Cleveland in this. I do not love it. And it's that myriad of injuries. It's so tough. Look, I don't like anything that I see out of the Bears. Justin Fields obviously will have a week to prepare, and maybe he gives them a spark. I think the only thing I like, I guess shouldn't even say like, the thing I like the most in this game is the under 45.5. Points may be at a premium in this game. I'm not sure I expect a whole lot against Fields. Look, this is still, with all the injuries on offense, this is still a tough Cleveland defense. The secondary has been playing very, very well. The addition of Troy Hill in the slot has made a huge difference for them. Of course, Denzel Ward, very, very good. Greg Newsome II's been very good. Darnell Mooney's been battling injuries for Chicago as well. Neither offense right now with the loss of Landry inspires a ton of confidence. And with Baker being banged up, I know he's going to give it a go, but don't you think they're going to want to rely on that running game a little bit more? The Bears secondary is dreadful. I don't know how they're going to take advantage of that. I don't see a lot of points in this game, so I like the under. If I have the proverbial gun to my head, I'm not taking a rookie quarterback making his debut against what I think is one of the better defenses in the league on the road. I would lean Cleveland here. Prefer the first half so you can get that under a touchdown. That would be the way I go at 4.5 in the first half. I think that makes a whole lot more sense. But like I said, picking a side, we pick a side in every game. I'll lean Cleveland, but the play I like the best is under 45.5. Yes, they're seeing some 46s as well.
Now, you say you like that Cleveland defense. They got absolutely bombed on by Kansas City, almost 450 yards. And then against Houston, well over 350 yards with Davis Mills playing a lot of that game here.
True.
So we'll see.
Excuse
me. I read that actually, you know what? I am wrong with that. I read that backwards. It was 324 in the air opening day, 220 on defense. So but again, you're also taking a look at Patrick Mahomes bombing on you, right? So theoretically, we don't expect Justin Fields to come in here and bomb on anybody with the Chicago Bears. I just see with the points, I see it close, but I can't fault anybody for saying, like, dude, man, rookie on quarterback on the road. Where do I sign up on the opposite team? I hear you on that as well. Because it wasn't like, Kyle, Justin Fields came in like, whoa, did you see Fields last week? No, he was really bad.
Yeah, and look, people in the chat box, look, I'm not trying to sleep on Fields, but just the sample size that I've seen in real action hasn't been great. I understand he's going to have the full week to prepare with the number one unit, which is always good. It's really, really tough. I don't think you're crazy for taking Chicago here. It's just, for me, until I see it from a rookie quarterback, it's just tough to do. But I do like the under. I don't know if you see a lot of points here. Under 40, it's a low number in the NFL nowadays, but points might be at a premium here. Under 45.5, under 46 makes more sense than trying to take a side here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in that one here, but certainly an interesting one for sure. Rookies on the road don't usually cash in all that much, but you're getting a touchdown this one. We'll see what happens. Bengals and the Steelers.
Oh, boy.
Big Ben, not good, washed and injured. Wide receiver down here for the Bears, a starting wide receiver.
The defense seems like everybody has a groin injury, as Kyle would say. There are jokes for that. But you're getting it. Now, here's my issue. Did anybody, is it because I lost last week on Cincinnati's team total, which they made a hell of a comeback to try to make it close in the fourth quarter and almost had a chance to tie it up. But if you watched 3 quarters of the Bengals offense, you said, oh my God, like this team is bizarrely bad now. I can't believe I even thought to take a team total over 20. They are horrendous. So now you're going back on the road again, and we're just expecting Cincinnati to say, hey, just because the Steelers are banged up, the Cincinnati Bengals are all of a sudden the play. It is a crazy game because we had those 4.5s and 5s out there. Now it's down to 3. So theoretically, you would think the value now would come back on the Steelers. But as I look at this game, I don't want any part of Big Ben because you know what's going to happen here. In the first part of the second quarter, and if I have a Steelers bet, I'm going to say, God damn it, Donnie, you know Big Ben stinks, and you still backed him anyway because you thought the Steelers at home would be able to do enough to win this football game. I don't want anything to do with the Steelers in this game whatsoever. So theoretically, I hated the Bengals last week, but it's the Bengals or nobody for me here.
Yeah, I mean, I know I circled Pittsburgh here. I'm giving them the home team edge here, and I agree. When I rewatched that game, I was disgusted by the Bengals' offense, their game plan. A lot of people who were close college football followers told me that Zach Taylor is a god-awful coach, and I think we're starting to see that rear its ugly head just a little bit. There are some young weapons out here. The problem is that Steelers secondary is very good, so you're not going to have I know Ruggs got loose a few times last week without Joe Hayden there. God, this one's tough. I'm just leaning home team or nothing here. I'll take the Steelers at -3. Do I love it? No. Will I have $1 of my money on anything involving this game? Absolutely not. I won't have a single player from this game involved in DFS. I hope I don't see this game on Red Zone. I want absolutely nothing to do with it. But since we take a side for each game, I will lean the Steelers here. Just do the Steelers stink? Yes. Does Big Ben stink? Yes. But I just think the Bengals might stink a little bit more. Tough place to play at Heinz Field. Terrible towels everywhere. So give me the home team. I don't love it. I'll take it. Now, one thing that's the 43 and a half, that's awfully low, right? Like these teams should be able to get there. So maybe if you want to bet this game, take the over 43 and see what happens there. But basically either side you bet on this game, any team total you bet on this game, any total you bet on this game, you're nervous going into it. You don't feel great about it.
No, you certainly don't feel great about it by any way, shape, or form here, but we will be watching it as the week goes on, and maybe some good news comes out here for the Steelers. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Yeah. Dolphins and the Raiders, Tua Tagovailoa, not going to suit up in this game, and I'm saying it's not really a bad thing when you take a look overall at the Miami offense. Tua Tagovailoa, more of a game-managing quarterback here in the NFL, over to a game manager, basically in Jacoby Brissett, who's a little bit more of a veteran, has more games under his belt in the NFL. Does that equate to success? Not necessarily, but if you looked last week and said, oh, they didn't even score any points against Buffalo Bills, Jacoby Brissett played a lot of the game. Trust me, quarterbacks in the NFL that aren't starters don't even pick up a football with the starting offense during the week, and then they're just thrust in. Hey, by the way, you healthy? You limber over there? What was your mindset coming into this week? They all say the same thing. Oh, you know what? I'm ready to start at any time. Come on, man. It's late at night. You picking up that playbook when you know you're probably a 90% chance you're not going to play this weekend. Hey, do I want to go over these extra plays and watch film? Yeah, coach, I got that handled already. You're playing some Xbox and just relaxing at home on a Thursday night. Now you're the starter. You're getting starter reps during the week. We're taking a look at this line at a 4 to 4.5. Now, I do agree with the line movement going up. We were a little bit worried about what we were getting out of Derek Carr early in the week. That ankle injury flared up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. John Gruden said everything's A-okay. He's practicing, should be good to go. I like the Raiders, but now with the price points we are looking at here, because correct me if I'm wrong, opening day, they weren't a favorite to beat the Baltimore Ravens. Going into Pittsburgh, not a favorite to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now at home, they are favored to beat the Miami Dolphins. I think the Miami Dolphins are going to be able to keep this game close. If I'm getting the 4.5, I'm leaning towards the Dolphins. Will Fuller is back. But here's the issue where I haven't made a wager on this game yet. You guys know me. I'm trying to find a way to take the Miami Dolphins with their team total. Watch a lot of film with Jacoby Brissett. Even went back to some games that he started in years past. He has the chops to do it. But is the game plan going to facilitate that? Or are we dinking and dunking up and down the field just to try to stay close and see what we can do? The key in this betting business, Kyle, is rule number 1. Donnie, don't outsmart yourself for no reason here. And I'm trying not to do that in this game.
Yeah, I can't back the Dolphins in any way, shape, or form. Just simply cannot do it. And look, the Raiders have come out and put up points and moved the ball against two good defenses when I certainly didn't expect it. So I got to eat some crow there. The offenses look good, and they've had no Josh Jacobs. They've been throwing the ball. Yes, the Dolphins have two excellent corners on the outside, but there are advantages in the middle of the field. Waller and Hunter Renfrow should be open all day against Nick Needham and those safeties. Were you inspired by anything you saw to Jacoby Brissett when he came in that game last week? They couldn't score a damn point when the Bills are just basically sitting back playing prevent vanilla defense up, 28-35 nothing. So no, and I do agree. Everyone and their mother is in on the Raiders. It will be a huge coup for the books if the Dolphins are able to pull this off. But I got to eat some crow here on the Raiders. They have, to me, they've been the biggest surprise and the most impressive start. We thought they could be
with
looking
Carolina.
At
them in Carolina.
Yeah, with them in Carolina, absolutely. We were talking about the schedule. They could come out 0-3. It's going to be a long year. Here they are 2-0, beating two playoff teams. I think they beat a third team who was close to the playoffs. I like the Raiders here. I just don't see how you could back Jacoby Brissett right now. What in the hell is he going to do? He's going to make the Raiders defense look better than it is, and it hasn't been god-awful. I like the Raiders here. I think they cover, and I think that Raiders team total over 23.5 is absolutely live. That was close to getting the seal of approval. I just backed off, but 23.5 here at -130. That the Raiders should get to 24 points in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. You can see the my hesitation here because I know I'm going to have my finger over the trigger with the Dolphins sometime between now and late Saturday night.
Scary.
I just want to make sure I make the right decision, which is why I haven't pulled the trigger. I need a little bit more around me. I want to make sure Will Fuller actually doesn't disappear midweek again, and he actually shows up and plays in this football game because he can help. He plays a big part of that offense because if you can run straight and run fast, Kyle, there is a job for you in the NFL to open up the rest of that passing game. We'll see if it happens, but it's a good game. It's a really good game to think about. I'm going to tell you the game we're going to go over right now. Not a great game to think about, and that is the Jets and the Denver Broncos out at Mile High. There's 10. Let me tell you something right here. If you can get 10, which we're seeing at DraftKings right now, -115, bet 365. There's 10.5s out here. Steady Teddy, it's all I need in this game. Move the sticks. Broncos, sit back in a prevent defense and just catch the interceptions like punts against Zach Wilson. And it's not his fault, people. It's not his fault. If Sam Darnold was still with the Jets this year, he would look the same exact way Zach Wilson does. And not because I don't think Zach Wilson's going to be a good player. He has no help. He has absolutely no help. Corey Davis, solid wide receiver. That's it. Nothing else. Absolutely nothing else to help this young kid as he played the Patriots defense. Very good. Looks like Carolina's defense. Very good. You know who's playing this week, Kyle, on the road? A very good defense with a charged up atmosphere. One of the Broncos fans has been more excited about coming home after a couple road games being 2-0 and about the feast on the New York Jets. I never take double-digit lines. Seems like I can't get enough of the Denver Broncos at -10 here, Kyle.
I mean, yeah, how are you supposed to back the Jets in any way, shape, or form? And part of me wants to say first half, but how many times have we seen it with these really bad teams and they come out and they have this crazy opening drive and Ty Johnson falls in for a touchdown and you're like, damn it, they somehow covered the first half and they lose it in the second half. I don't like double-digit lines. You and I both don't like double-digit lines. But it's Broncos or nothing. It's absolutely Broncos or nothing. The secondary for the Broncos is terrific. It doesn't get any easier for Zach Wilson this week. Do I think he'll be focused and really wanting to put on a show after what might be one of the worst performances we've seen in years from a quarterback last week? Sure. But there's just no talent there for the Jets. I mean, even we were joking earlier in the week about this Jets team total. I mean, 14.5 -110. You can get the juice under 14. And it's tempting, right, for a little bit of pain. And we love to have fun as the Jets fly over my house nonstop for the show. Luckily, they've been doing it while you talk so I can hit the mute button. But no, it's Broncos or bust here. Early in the week, I was considering that Broncos team total. But again, are the Broncos going to need to score 27 points to win this game? Probably not. We saw it last week. Vic Fangio is such a boring loser coach that they had 1st and goal on the 5 and can't punch it in to get over that mark or even kick the field goal. The only way I'm touching this game, I might tease it down to under a touchdown, make it part of a teaser because I do think the Broncos win by a touchdown. But I just can't feel good about the total because I don't know if the Jets are going to participate. Broncos or nothing. We'll take the double-digit spread there, but of course not in love with it.
Yeah, Sean MCK says it must be horrible for some of these quality rookie quarterbacks to start their professional careers on bad teams. That's why they draft them 1, 2, and 3. Not because they're good football teams. It's because, like, hey, buddy, we really need some help here. But when you take a job, because it's different. Like, you go to Jacksonville, at least, like, Trevor Lawrence has weapons. Like, hey, somebody's going to be open of my legitimate wide receiving core or running backs or my offensive line. We look at the Jets, like, Zach Wilson drops back and is like, what is this? Like, one-on bum out here? Like, I got to play everybody by myself? Hey, let me just show off my arm talent. Interception. And I think the same thing is going to take place in this game. Great game out west. Game of the week, no question about it. The Buccaneers and the Rams. Now, we also had some decent line movement already in this football game. Opened up at what? -2, -1.5 as a favorite towards the Los Angeles Rams, has completely flipped over, -1 offshore Pinnacle, -1.5 here in New Jersey. Now a favor for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You want to talk about a coin flip, you got it here. But this game comes down to me. That is huge news here for Antonio Brown to come down with COVID this week. Now, he is vaccinated, so if he clears 2 tests in a 24-hour period, let's just say for layman's terms, gets tested Thursday, he's negative, gets tested Friday, he's negative, he can come back on Saturday. But you have to have those back-to-back tests, which COVID usually sticks around for at least a week. He tested positive this week, not last week. So maybe he misses this game, and if he does, that's big. Godwin's very good. Evans is good. Gronkowski's reincarnated out here. But also taking a look at what the Rams do well. Am I infatuated by the Rams offense? A little bit. Looks good. Cooper Kupp looks great out here. There's enough weapons. Maybe banged up, though, at the running back position this week, so you don't get those extra explosive plays or the possibility of explosive plays out of your running game. But they should be fine. McVay's going to have a game plan put together. But my player of this game is not Jalen Ramsey, who I love at cornerback, one of my favorite players in the NFL. But it is the best overall player on defense in football, and that's Aaron Donald. If you're an older quarterback, a non-mobile quarterback, the worst thing a defense can do to you is put heavy pressure up the middle and knock those offensive linemen back into your face while you try to step up and deliver. Am I saying that the Rams should blow them out? Absolutely not. But the fact that they swung from favorites to dogs in the pick-6 contest, I took the Rams this weekend. Do I think we'll get points? Probably so. But if I'm looking at one player to make an impact in this game for the difference in winning and losing, it's going to be Aaron Donald for me up front. Antonio Brown down, Aaron Donald up front, Sean McVay at home with Matthew Stafford. I think the Rams get the win here. What are you thinking, Kyle?
Yeah, I do like the Rams here. And look, the Antonio Brown thing is one thing. The main factor for me is I don't give a damn what running backs are hurt for the Rams. You're not running the ball on Tampa Bay anyways. So what's going to happen here is the Rams are going to have to throw the ball. And you know what they have sitting there in the slot? They have the most advantageous matchup in the league this week, Cooper Kupp against Ross Cockrell. The Buccaneers secondary is the only secondary through the first 2 weeks where all 3 of their main defensive backs, Cockrell, Jamel Dean, and Carlton Davis, have given up a completion on 22% or more of their defensive routes that they have ran. Teams are torching this secondary. They're giving up 0.41, 0.67, and 0.39 fantasy points per route ran against. The Rams have absolutely no choice but to throw the football here, and they have the perfect recipe to succeed that way. That's why you can go ahead and put that seal of approval up right here, because this is my favorite team total. You can go over to Caesars William Hill. You can get the Rams team total over 26 at -150 with some juice. I don't even mind the over 27.5 at -110. I expect them to get to 28 points. That Bucs, we know what the Bucs like to do. They're going to try to blitz Stafford and get after him. That's going to leave those corners who have not been able to cover anyone so far this year on an island against a prolific passing attack. A ton of passes in this game. There should be points, but for me, it's that Rams team total. I just like their advantage better against the secondary than I do for the Buccaneers, but this game's going to be a lot of fun. Once again, Rams over 26 over at William Hill Caesars. That's at -150. Can lock that in, and if you can't find that, I have a strong liking for the over 27.5 as well.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. Great secondary versus good wide receivers. This game would be a little bit different for me. If Antonio Brown played, that's the X factor where you're stretched thin on defense. But if you can lock into 2 wide receivers, Jalen Ramsey's taking one of them out straight up. Like you get Mike Evans. I hope, because I have Mike Evans on a season-long prop. I hope Jalen Ramsey goes on Godwin in this game and just takes him out and says, "Oh, at least Evans might be able to have a decent day here," because I don't want Jalen Ramsey on my guy here. But if you had Antonio Brown, you just have to pick your poison. You're probably going to get eaten up. The fact that he's not going to play, that's huge.
Well, I have some good news for you. Chris Godwin lines up in the slot on 73% of his routes through the first 2 weeks of the season.
Oh, good. Okay.
Jalen Ramsey's been defending the slot on 50% of his routes. Mike Evans he gets in the slot about 35% of the time. You're going to see a lot of Ramsey on Godwin. So you're going to get the David Longs and the Darius Williams outside on Mike Evans. Darius Williams, good defensive back, but getting torched early on, giving up a completion, 33% of his defensive routes and nearly a half a fantasy point per route ran against. So that would be, I think Mike Evans on the outside is a nice fantasy and DFS player, and he's a little underpriced as well still.
I like it. Over 300 people watching, chilling out with us here on a Thursday. 2 more games to go before we go over some pick six contests here and also bring Kelsey Kramer into the show as well. Let's take a look here. Still staying on the, I guess, Midwest here, we can call it. Seattle going to take that plane flight from Seattle to Minneapolis. Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, 2 offenses that seem like they can get after it with the best of them. 2 defenses that look like they struggle, to say the least, at times here. You do have a slight favorite, -1.5 here with Seattle. Now, Kyle, I know your angle in this game, which is a lot of the angles that we play versus everybody when you look at Seattle. Seattle -6, no thanks. Seattle under a field goal, sign me up for that.
Correct.
Because Russell Wilson will keep you in the game each and every time. But for some reason, the bottom falls out on Seattle at some point in the game, which is so baffling to happen. But if you just need to win the game, that sort of wipes that out. 55s across the board. You're going to be in a dome. It is going to be loud here. But you have Russell Wilson on one side. You have Kirk Cousins on the other. Dalvin Cook actually missed 2 days of practice. That's something to keep an eye on if you're looking towards Minnesota. But from a side perspective, I did circle Seattle. Why? Because I think I'm safer with Seattle than I am with Minnesota overall with Russell Wilson at quarterback. I think they can win this game. But if I'm looking from a team total perspective, boy, it's almost a coin flip on which side to take here. 55 is a ton of points in the NFL. But if you're looking at 2 offenses, and sometimes like to say, Kyle, Seattle just needs a running mate sometimes. If you tell Seattle, we're going to run the football, slow it down, you know what Seattle does? We don't need Russell Wilson today, which is so idiotic. But when they have to crank their offense up, Russell Wilson just cooks out there, makes things happen. I think he's going to be able to cook, and I like their team total. I think Seattle's going to be able to approach those high 20s and get right up against that team total, if not cash in this one. What do you think of between the Seahawks and the Vikings?
Yeah, this is one of those rare games where I was close on the Seattle team total because that Vikings secondary, Peterson and Breeland, especially Bashaud Breeland, he was outstanding the previous years with Kansas City. He looks slow and lost, does not belong on the field. He's giving up a full fantasy point per route ran against. Think about that. That is absolutely insane. You just don't see that, especially from a guy with the pedigree of Bashaud Breeland. But that secondary looks dreadful. Do you want to have a slow, bad secondary when you're facing Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf? The answer is no, and you're right. Will I take Russell Wilson at anything more than a field goal? Almost never, and I talked about it last week, and it came to fruition. But Seattle under a field goal against Kirk Cousins, even though they're at home, you can sign me up for that. So it's a rare occasion where I prefer a side over a team total. I like the Seahawks here. I think they come back a little bit pissed off after giving up after a home loss and such a big comeback in that home loss. Look, if it's loud Minnesota, there's one team that I know is ready for a loud crowd. That's the Seattle Seahawks. I'll take Russell Wilson over Kirk Cousins under a field goal any day of the week. Give me the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one here. And how about the one that we're going to end up with, Kyle? Your 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers. Maybe they righted the ship, Green Bay, here, but I guess everybody probably can right a ship against the Detroit Lions. Going up against this weekend, the 49ers on the road, where the Packers particularly don't play well. But I have to say, you're catching them at a very good time. Not sure who's going to be the running back. Everybody is hurt in that backfield. It seems like Brandon Ayuk can't get out of the doghouse, so you're left with just Deebo Samuel and Jimmy Garoppolo. I like San Francisco as a team. I like Kyle Shanahan here. Wasn't enamored with their offense last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Green Bay can hang around in this one, and that hook is a big deal. You're saying -3s at -120, some 3.5 still out here. In the contest, I got Green Bay at 3.5, and that's what I'm going with this week. I think Green Bay can stay in it. And I have to tell you also, Kyle, looking at some of the team totals out here on this game, you know, Green Bay is 23.5 -105 at Bet365, which means all team totals, we could probably get something similar to what the Chargers are. But if you remember, before the Monday night game started, Bet365 had 20.5 at -125 for the Packers. So they were waiting as well. Like, hey, look, Green Bay, they actually have an offense. Okay, right, let's get back to normal. The 49ers team total at 26.5. Interesting as well. But if I'm looking at this game, I'm with the Packers with the 3.5, and I'm trying to find a way to possibly take the Green Bay Packers to get over that 23 marker.
Yeah. Well, bottom line for me is the Green Bay Packers cannot handle physical teams. They've got injuries on that offensive line. As someone astutely mentioned in the chat box, you could be looking at a third string tackle trying to block Nick Bosa. Good luck with that. I don't care who's running the ball for the 49ers. I think Eli Mitchell will probably give it a go. I know he hasn't practiced all week. They're hoping it's a stinger in that shoulder. Oftentimes when it's a shoulder injury, they'll just put some extra padding on there and let him go. You might see some Trenton Cannon. But what do we know about Kyle Shanahan? He knows how to scheme a running game, and he certainly knows how to do it against Matt LaFleur, who has not cracked the code on this 49ers team. If you look at their recent games against each other as well, playoff games, it's a blowout every time. Aaron Rodgers, it's his hometown.
Yeah, but those are way better Niner teams than this.
I mean, they're pretty similar
defenses.
This
is the same Packers team that's going to show up that used to get their butt kicked. But, like, if you had Mostert healthy and Tevin Coleman, the back way, I say, because, again, I was one of those guys that was licking my chops in the playoffs. Like, Packers, come get this beat down in San Francisco. So I agree with you on that end of it.
I just can't trust the Packers in San Francisco. Let's not forget, too, this is a big game for the 49ers. Their first home game. They are terrific. Historically, they are terrific in prime time at home. They're also bringing back those 75th anniversary jerseys that they wore back in 1994. As you know, the only blemish of that team was when your Eagles smoked us, but that led us to the Super Bowl that year. Emotional home crowd. Packers still not tough enough to stop this run. I don't care who's running the ball. And Matt LaFleur may as well be a first grader while Kyle Shanahan's a college graduate in scheming this game up. Tough day for Rodgers. He's going to be running for his life. They know how to take Davante Adams out of this game. Once you take Davante Adams out of the game, the Packers are in a lot of trouble. Aaron Jones will not be running all over this defense. It's not a homer pick here. It's just for me, when I see a physical team against the Packers, I always take the physical team. The Packers are soft. I think the Niners get it done at home here. I'm taking a -3.5.
Yeah, be a good one. Be a good one to watch, and certainly that's why it's in prime time here. So, talking about prime time and talking about picks here, are picks that are in for the week. Now, these are official plays here. And keep in mind also, Kyle and I get asked many times here, and you guys watch the show, we try to put that seal of approval up when we know a serious play is coming. Then we also have a little wrap-up here that we talk about which plays we are actually on. But keep in mind, follow me on Twitter, at RightSideVP. Follow Kyle on Twitter, the DFS Bachelor. We are going to have our plays, because if you go to my profile right now, it still has my last week's plays up. That's all I'm going to pin. But once my card is final, that will be pinned up. So it's not like, Kyle, hey, I got to follow your timeline, Kyle. You put out one play on Thursday at 3 o'clock, one more play at midnight, another play at 9 a.m. I missed them all. No, I'm going to put my plays out on the show, which I have one right now I'm going to give away. I obviously already gave it out, technically. The Chargers team total over 22 -160 at Caesars. That is official. That will be on my card. Once my card is complete, I'll tweet it out. I'll pin it on my profile. You guys know, if it's Saturday, you're hanging out like, oh, man, I wonder what Donnie and Kyle had. Go to our Twitter pages. We'll have those up probably by the latest Saturday, so you know exactly what we're eating on. And also keep in mind, we do this show called Sunday Closing Line, where we tell you once again officially what we're on. So a lot of chances to get after it. And also keep in mind, people, we're in the content business. What would be the point of the show to come in outside the chat box? You guys are awesome. I love you. You bring it each and every week. But at the same time, if I gave all my picks out on Tuesday, hey, I have to tune in and watch this show. So I always make sure that I release plays on shows for the most part, particularly if I have one on Monday early or Thursday today, Kyle. So I am going, the only play official so far, I hope to have 3 of them, Chargers team total over 22 -160 at Caesars. That's where I'm going. What do you got, Kyle?
Yeah, and I like that Rams team total over 26 at Caesars -150. Don't hate the 27.5 as well. As I mentioned earlier, I'm digging on the Titans -5, and I'm trying to get it. I'm still worried that line's going to move, especially if news comes out that he's not going to play. And I as well will hope to add a third one, but right now those are the 2 that I like the most.
All right, let's get to the Pick 6 contest right here to let the people know what our picks are this week. I always say, Kyle, my goal, 3-3. I'm sitting at 500 on the season. I'm right where I need to be. The 6 plays that I have in, the Rams +1, the Packers +3.5, the Chicago-Cleveland under 45.5, New Orleans +3, Miami-Las Vegas over 44.5, and also the Bears at +7. What do you got today, Kyle?
So we're going to go with the Titans -5. We've got the Raiders -4. I've got the Seahawks -1. My 49ers at a nice little +100 juice here at -3.5.
Oh, head-to-head.
Baltimore -8. Gulp. And I went ahead and took Arizona as well, -7.5.
All right. Speaking of Arizona, somebody who used to be from Arizona joining the show right now, that would be one Kelsey Kramer, the first lady of football at sportsbookreview.com for her Thursday appearance. Welcome into the show.
Hey.
Oh, she wasn't muted. What the hell is going on here?
I love it.
Unbelievable.
There you go. It works. She's ready to go, rested and ready, as we like to say here. Let's get into some picks here because we got a game tonight between the Carolina Panthers and the Houston Texans. One of these games I'm not all that excited about, but if you heard our breakdown here, Kelsey, which you probably weren't paying any attention to what me and Kyle were saying, everything is coming up roses for Carolina. But do you expect a dog performance here out of the Texans, who are 2-0 against the spread, or is Carolina coming to town to roll over those Houston Texans?
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to start out. I went 3-3 week 1 and 4-2 week 2. So I'm feeling like week 3 is my week. I love the number 3 after the number 8. But anyways, I'm rolling with Carolina Panthers -7.5. Donnie, I hate when you laugh.
I like 3, 8, 4, 7. I like them all. Go ahead.
I'm a big fan of 44. I don't know why. Just that number.
3 and 8. Okay, but yeah, no. Carolina is super hot on both sides of the ball, and I don't see this rookie quarterback, it's his first start in the NFL, up against this Carolina team who is just strong on both sides of the ball, competing tonight. So I like Carolina with a blowout in Houston.
There you go. It makes sense, too, because I see on your picks here as well, going against a rookie quarterback here tonight, making his first start. I see the next one here, possibly a fade of another rookie quarterback. The Arizona Cardinals heading on the road to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, over under in the 50 range here. We know Arizona's coming to town to score some points. Now, keep in mind also, DeAndre Hopkins hasn't practiced yet this week, but it looks like he's going to be okay for Sunday. Who are we looking at here? Is this a bounce-back effort for Urban Meyer, or is Urban Meyer going to be sitting on one of those golf carts eating pizza after yet another loss here, Kelsey?
That's the second time I heard that meme, and I have yet to look at this meme. I have yet to see this. But first of all, I owe a huge apology to Kyler Murray. I just blew him up week 1, and I'm so sorry. I love him again. So we are here with the NFC Offensive Player of the Week in week 2. And Trevor Lawrence, I mean, it's disappointing. He has more interceptions than touchdowns. I hope he does better this week, but I don't see that happening. I like Arizona. I have them at -7.5.
Kyle, same game that you have basically on the Titans first week with Arizona. I mean, obviously the Titans are a much better team than Jacksonville is.
Yeah, exactly. And I took the Cardinals -7.5 as well. I know it's West Coast to East Coast, but Jacksonville has done nothing to make you think that would they be favored over the Jets right now? I'm not sure.
Urban Meyer can't cheat in the NFL, so now it's just like
Urban Meyer passed Mike McCarthy as the worst and dumbest coach in the NFL. It's a fact. He's the lowest IQ coach. He is 100%.
As an AD, whatever he's doing.
Yeah, he needs to head to USC, and I bet. And fans in Jacksonville are rooting for him to go to USC already. I can assure you of that.
We'll see what happens here. Look at that. Kelsey goes 2. Damn, the road team's over a touchdown, Kyle. She's heading right down that path here. But let's take a look here at another game up in Buffalo. Look, and a little bit extra time here for Washington to get prepared for this game. I like Taylor Heineke. I think he's a pretty good option here. If Fitzpatrick's going to go down, it's not a bad replacement to have. But now you're going into the teeth of the dragon. A shutout performance last week by the Buffalo Bills. The week before that, they had a very good defensive performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. What are we expecting from this game with the Washington football team? Enough to keep it close, or is this Josh Allen's day?
Okay, well, first of all, you're talking about this Dolphins team who just stunk, and they're out with Tua. And then the Steelers team who, they were good week 1, but now we saw them last week get smacked by the Raiders. So that's not saying too much. But this Bills offense, they still have a lot to work on, obviously. And Tyler Heineke has been much more accurate than Josh Allen. I like the guy. And this Washington defense front 7 is going to be a lot harder to get through than the Jaguars. Swiss
That's what we have here in this game, too. Antonio Gibson, the good running back, he's banged up a little bit with a shoulder injury, but extra time from that Thursday Night Football game. If they can control the ground game and Taylor Heinicke can make enough plays with his feet, I think they can stick around. But I do think the Bills are at another level than Washington. But again, we are not picking games here, Kyle, that's saying, hey, it's like a pool. Just circle the team that you think is going to win. If you're getting 7, 8, or 9 points, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I always love it when people in the chat. You'd be surprised how many people want to defend head coaches in the NFL. I'll never understand it. Why are we bashing Urban Meyer?
I love Urban Meyer.
Because Urban Meyer's a piece of garbage, hiding guns for shooters.
I do like Urban Meyer.
I cannot stand Urban Meyer. And if it hurts your feelings, get mad at me, whine all you want, but that's never going to change. Urban Meyer is a complete moron. And if you want to go rewatch the Jacksonville tapes, you can watch the game plan and realize, yeah, he's a complete moron. So that's why I'm bashing Urban Meyer, and I don't regret a single second of it. When it comes to this game, look, we talked about could be weather concerns, the wind concerns. Maybe that takes away some of the big plays. Washington's front seven, been a little underwhelming. I thought they'd be better to start the year, but this could be a tough, grimy game. Do I think Buffalo wins? I sure do, but I'm not laying that many points in what could be a sort of a slugfest here. I think it's a lower scoring, closer, ugly type game that Buffalo wins.
Yeah, but I like Urban Meyer. I like this style in college where that you need to have a couple players that at any given moment during the day that can commit a felony. That's to get that balance on the team.
Exactly.
When you want to go to war, you got some dogs there. There you go.
Yep.
You got some dogs. How about this one? Hometown, or should I say close to a hometown discount. Maybe Kelsey would wear a jersey or two over the weekend of this football team heading into the Big Apple, or should I say in New Jersey, to the Meadowlands. The Atlanta Falcons looked terrible against the Philadelphia Eagles. Didn't look much better against Tampa Bay. Now getting Danny Dimes on the road. And this is a short price here. Falcons are only getting 3 points. So the Giants, basically a home favorite. You get roughly 3 points. A neutral field, you'll see what happens. I think the Atlanta Falcons can stay in this game for one reason. The Giants' offensive line stinks. But Matt Ryan, you know the meme out there with the guy with the little stick like, do something. Do something, Matt Ryan. How about that, Kelsey? What are we thinking?
Well, Matt Ryan is definitely winning last week's Pick Six contest. So, but I spoke to him.
There you go.
That was well done.
You got it?
Well done. Pro move.
Who wrote that for you, Kyle?
Yeah.
I spoke to him on Tuesday, and we had a one-on-one.
Whoa, wait, what?
I did. I cover the Falcons. Come on now.
You spoke to Matt Ryan?
I did, one-on-one. We usually don't get that, but it was very nice. You guys don't read my articles, obviously.
Yeah, tweet that out. I think I have to take you off mute on Twitter. Go ahead.
That was good.
Did you just say Donnie?
I don't have you on mute.
He got verified and got very, very spoiled. His ego is way out here right now.
Followers are going down by 1. No, maybe. But I talked to him on Tuesday. I don't know why I keep saying no. It's I need to use that in real life.
What a name drop. Wow.
Yeah, no, Matty Ice. There I go again. Holy cow. But Matty Ice and I talked on Tuesday. He was very optimistic. I kind of laughed because I've been a Falcons fan for a while. And I was like, hey, we suck again. And he said, but we're trying. He didn't say, no, we don't suck. But he said, we're trying.
Did you actually tell him that they suck? That is beautiful. That is gold.
You guys are sucking right now.
You guys suck, man.
I mean, you get tired of it. You're just like, all right, how am I going to be? He's a legend, going to be a legend.
Yeah.
But I think the Falcons, and I've been 2 for 2 on these Falcons picks. So I think I'm going to be 3 for 3 and say the Falcons are finally going to kind of get it together this week to at least cover the spread, hopefully win against this Giants, who is also very questionable. But we saw the Falcons keep up with the former Super Bowl champs. It was 28-25 last week. And yeah, that might not be saying a lot because we got our butts kicked, but we were right there. We were right there to at least cover that 12.5-point spread, but we didn't. And hopefully they can keep that momentum going and make some more plays in the red zone.
I agree. So, yeah. By the way, Kyle, I say probably the best reason here to take Atlanta is Joe Judge. Kyle, is that the best reason?
It could be because Joe Judge might be number 3 on that list, right? But like they say,
how do you have Urban Meyer above Joe Judge or below Joe Judge? Come on, readjust.
At least when I watch a Giants game, at least there's not 4 wide receivers within 3 feet of each other, and he's not throwing out the worst running back on his roster because they used to do Bible study 12 years ago in college. Ugh, Urban Meyer, give me a damn break here. But like I like to say, if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk. I think it's hilarious that you told Matt Ryan that they suck, because they do suck. I can't back them until I see anything right now. Even though it makes me sick to back Daniel Jones at home, I did back the Giants on this one.
All right, the Raiders and the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins lose their quarterback, get shut out. They were embarrassed last week. Maybe Will Fuller comes back. But also, we're talking about a Raiders team that one is a dog opening day, one is a dog in week 2, but now flip over to the favored side here out in Las Vegas. That crowd is going to be rocking and rolling and ready to go. What are we looking at in this game between the Dolphins and the Raiders, Kelsey?
Okay, well, per Insider, it does not look like Will Fuller will be back this weekend. And may or may not be leaning retirement. So anyway, I love Will Fuller, huge Notre Dame fan, even though he lost a few games for us. But I like the Raiders. Obviously, everyone's on the Raiders in this one, right? I hope so. It feels like a lock, and I hope it's a lock unless the Dolphins can somehow magically show up. But I don't see that happening in Vegas. It's going to be a party. Future MVP candidate, Derek Carr. I like the guy. Misses long hair. Raiders all day. I like both sides of the ball for them. I don't see Miami even scoring 3 touchdowns.
No Will Fuller. I mean, come on, Will Fuller. What are you doing out here? Some unbelievable stuff here, Kyle. Yeah, exactly. By the way, she likes
guys, I heard it's really,
Derek Carr's
sad.
long hair.
Yeah, I need Derek Carr to stop, because I can't be getting a Derek Carr tramp stamp. So I need things to stop here. He cannot be winning that damn MVP. And I got to stop making that bet. Plain and simple. I can't handle the stress. I got to stop making that bet.
Yeah, there you go. Looks like you're gonna have to do that each and every week. The people expect it out here for us. Chargers, as we like to say, go Chargers, go versus Kansas City. This line was a 7, dips below now under a touchdown. And I was telling Kyle earlier in the show, Kelsey, I agreed with that here. I love Justin Herbert. I think their defense is better than Kansas City's, and I think Herbert's going to be able to move the football in this game. Are you agreeing with me that the Chargers will score points and be competitive, or is this Mahomes, Kansas City, his fiance screaming on the sideline, his knucklehead brother out here? Who are we taking in this one?
That family is so whack. I am with you, Donnie. Kyle, are you with us?
He's with us.
Yeah, I'm with us.
Okay.
Wait, I don't even know what the hell you guys are talking about. I'm paying attention to other stuff here. What's happening?
You're drinking coffee and not beer. That's why.
There's Bailey's in it.
Oh, I think. And some Jack. No, I am not a fan of this KC team this year. I like Justin Herbert all the way. He's definitely a rising star. He's going to be fun to watch even later down the road. And if they can if the Falcons can do what they do and make more plays in the red zone, then they have more going for them. And KC's defense is sucked in the red zone. So I like the Chargers here.
There you go. Pick 6 contest wrapping up.
Yeah, we like the Chargers. We love the Chargers here. They're covering the spread.
I want to see this new confidence. You know what? As I look right now, I got up on the thing. Let me unmute Kelsey. All right. I'm going to be able to see your tweets now. So they're going to be able to come across my screen. I can read up on that stuff. But it's fun. I can't wait. It's week 3. We're wrapping it up. Another great show. Hour and 23 minutes. Absolutely flew by here. A lot of people watching these shows, Kelsey. So you need to provide these winners, because Kyle certainly does not do that. You like that?
A great week last week, by the way. Beat you in the pick 6. Notice how we didn't talk about how I won week 2 in the pick 6 against you. We only talked about how you beat me week 1. It's that damn verified blue check mark. The ego's out of control.
It's a shame we can't put it up on this screen right now, because otherwise I would have it up here. But that'll be the show for this week on sportsbookreview.com. You know where to find all the greatest NFL information. It's right here. Hit that link below, sbrpicks.com/NFL. Good luck on your wagers. There's a Thursday night football game. We will be back again on Sunday to wrap it up on the NFL closing line. Both myself and Kyle. I am Donnie RightSide. She is Kelsey Kramer. He is Kyle Purviance. And we are the sportsbookreview.com NFL team. And as always, good luck on those wagers.